Так, продолжим. Thus, at least in part, the yield curve reflects the market assessment of coming interest rates. The following example uses a similar analysis to find short rate that will prevail in year 3. Now we compare two 3-year strategies. One is to buy a 3-year zero with a yield to maturity from table 15.1 of 7% and hold it until maturity. The other is to buy a 2-year zero yielding 6%, a 2-year zero yielding 6% and roll the proceeds into a 1-year bond in year 3 at the short rate R3. The growing factor for the invested funds under each policy will be buy and hold 3-year zero equals buy 2-year zero, roll proceeds into 1-year bond. 1 plus y3 to the power of 3 equals 1 plus y2 to the power of 2 times 1 plus r3. 1.07 to the power of 3 equals 1.06 to the power of 2 times 1 plus r3. И после упрощения, which implies that r3 is equal to 1.07 to the power of 3 divided by 1.06 to the power of 2 minus 1 equals 0.09025 equals 9.025%. Again, notice that the yield on the 3-year bond reflects a geometric average of the discount factors for the next 3 years. Again, notice that the yield on 3-year bonds reflects a geometric average of the discount factors for the next 3 years. 1 plus y3 equals 1 plus r times 1 plus r2 times 1 plus r3 to the power of 1 over 3. 1.07 equals 1.05, 1 times 1.0701 times 1.09025 to the power of 4 over 3. We conclude that the yield or spot rate on a long-term bond reflects the path of short rates anticipated by the market or the life of the bond. В третьем году ставки будут равны трехлетняя долгосрочная ставка. Номинальная двухлетнюю ставку. Сейчас это минус 1. Но главное здесь запомнить, что вот этот новый арбитраж condition. Так, окей. Figure 15.3 summarizes the results of our analysis and emphasizes.
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 Emphasizes. Emphasizes. The difference between short rates and spot rates. Short rates and spot rates. The top line presents the short rates for each year. The lower line presents spot rates or equivalently yields to maturity on Euro-coupon bonds for different holding periods, extending from the present to each relevant maturity date. А где это 15.3? И где? Short versus spot rates. Short rate each year. Это в том году сколько ставка, да? Окей. А это current spot rates yields to maturity for various maturities. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Okay. The top line presents the short rates for each year, the lower line presents spot rates or equivalently yields to maturity on Euro-coupon bonds for different holding periods, extending from the present to each relevant maturity date. Holding period returns. We've argued that the multi-year cumulative returns on all of our competing bonds ought to be equal. What about holding period returns over shorter periods such as a year? We've argued that the multi-year cumulative returns on all of our competing bonds ought to be equal. What about holding period returns over shorter periods such as a year? You might think that bonds selling at higher yields to maturity will offer higher one-year returns, but this is not the case. In fact, once you stop to think about it, it is clear that this cannot be true. In a world of certainty, all bonds must offer identical returns, or investors will flock to the higher return securities, bidding up their prices and reducing their returns. We can illustrate by using the bonds in table 15.1. Holding period returns on zero coupon bonds. Holding period returns. Так. Пауза. Пауза. The 1-year bond in table 15.1 can be bought today for 1000 divided by 1.05 equals 952.38 and will mature to its par value in 1 year. It pays no coupons, so total investment income is just its price appreciation, and its rate of return is 0.05. The 2-year bond can be bought for 1000 divided by 1.06 to the power of 2, $890. Next year the bond will have a remaining maturity of 1 year, and the 1-year interest rate will be 7.01. Therefore, its price next year will be 1000 divided by 1.0701, 934.49, and its 1-year holding period rate of return will be and its 1-year holding period rate of return will be 934.49 минус 890, потому что он продаст за 934, купил за 890, делить на 890 equals 0.05 for an identical 5% rate of return. Ставка будет выше, и цена будет ниже, поэтому доходность от продажи будет ниже. Но если ставка будет такой же, ну ставка не будет такой же, потому что мы раньше рассматривали, да? Ну, скорее всего, не будет такой же. Но если ставка будет такой же, тогда, наверное, и у годичных изменится, да? Ну ладно. Так, forward rates. The following equation generalizes our approach to inferring a future short rate from the yield curve of zero coupon bonds. It equates the total return on two n-year investment strategies: buying and holding an n-year zero coupon bond versus buying an n-1 year zero and rolling over the proceeds into a 1-year bond. 1 plus yn to the power of n equals 1 plus yn minus 1 to the power of n minus 1 times 1 plus rn, where n denotes the period in question and yn denotes the yield to maturity of the zero coupon bond with an n period maturity. Given the observed yield curve, we can solve equation 15.2 for the short rate in the last period. 1 plus rn equals 1 plus yn to the power of n over 1 plus yn minus 1 to the power of n minus 1. Okay. Equation 15.3, which is this equation, has a simple interpretation. The numerator on the right-hand side is the total growth factor of an investment in an n-year zero held until maturity. The numerator on the right-hand side is the total growth factor of an investment in an n-year zero held until maturity. Similarly, the denominator is the growth factor of an investment in an n-1 year zero. Because the former investment lasts for one more year than the latter, the difference in these growth factors must be the rate of return available in year n, when the n-1 year zero can be rolled over into a 1-year investment. Да, логично. Вот это и вот это разница всего лишь год, поэтому разница должна быть вот это. Okay. Of course, when future interest rates are uncertain, as they are in reality, there is no meaning to inferring the future short rate. No one knows today what the future interest rate will be. At best, we can speculate as to its expected value and associated uncertainty. Nevertheless, it is still common to use equation 15.3 to investigate the implications of the yield curve for future interest rates. Recognizing that future interest rates are uncertain, we call the interest rate that we infer in this matter the forward interest rate rather than the future short rate, because it need not be the interest rate that actually will prevail at the future date. If the forward rate for period n is denoted Fn, we then define Fn by the equation 1 plus Fn is equal to 1 plus Yn to the power of n, 1 plus Yn minus 1 to the power of n minus 1. Equivalently, we may rewrite equation 15.4 as 1 plus Yn to the power of n equals 1 plus Yn minus 1 to the power of n minus 1 times 1 plus Fn. In this formulation, the forward rate is defined as the break-even interest rate that equates the return on an n-period zero coupon bond to that of an n-1 period zero coupon bond rolled over into a 1-year bond in year n. The actual total returns on the two n-year strategies will be equal if the short interest rate in year n turns out to equal Fn. The actual returns on the two n-year strategies will be equal if the short interest rates in year n turns out to equal Fn. Так, because the one future interest rate they are in reality, there is no meaning to infer the future short rate. Так, это ставка, предполагаемая ставка, которая уравнивает, да, новый арбитраж ставка в этих, да, и она называется не future short rate, а forward rate, да. А вот это долгосрочная ставка на соответствующая на длину вложения, да, этих денег. Spot rates, это называется spot rates, а это forward rates, да. Okay. Forward rates. Suppose a bond trader uses the data present in table 15.1. The forward rate for year 4 would be computed as 1 plus F4 equals 1 plus Y4 to the power of 4, 1 plus Y3 to the power of 3, 1.08 to the power of 4, 1.07 to the power of 3 equals 1.1106. Therefore, the forward rate is F4 equals 0.1106 or 11.06%. We emphasize again that the interest rate that actually will prevail in the future is not equal the forward rate, which is calculated from the today's data. Indeed, it is not even necessarily the case that the forward rate equals the expected value of the future short interest rate. Indeed, it is not even necessarily the case that the forward rate equals the expected value of the future short interest rate. This is an issue that we address in the next section. For now, however, we note that forward rates equal future short rates in the special case of interest rate certainty. For now, however, we note that forward rates equal future short rates in the special case of interest rate certainty. Excel application spot and forward yields. The spreadsheet below, available at mh.com. Ну, когда я сюда заходил, правда, я не видел никакого available spreadsheet. Can be used to estimate prices and yields of coupon bonds and to calculate the forward rates for both single year and multi-year periods. Spot yields are derived for the yield curve of bonds that are selling at their par value, also referred to as the current coupon or on-the-run bond yield curve. The spot rates for each maturity date are used to calculate the present value of each period's cash flow. The sum of these cash flows is the price of the bond. Given its price, the bond's yield to maturity can then be computed. If you were to err and use the yield to maturity of the on-the-run bond to discount each of the bond's coupon payments, you could find a significantly different price. That difference is calculated in the worksheet. Excel questions change the spot rate in the spreadsheet to 8% for all maturities. The forward rates will all be 8%. Why is this not surprising? The spot rates in column B decrease for longer maturities, and the forward rates decrease even more rapidly with maturity. What happens to the pattern of forward rates if you input spot rates that increase with maturity? Why? Так, the spot rate is 1 year forward, 2 year forward, 3 year forward, 10 years, 5 years, 6 years. Spot rate это на 8 лет такая ставка или что? Ну да, наверное, на 8 лет такая ставка, да? Таблица что-то не так уж понятно. Ладно. Interest rate uncertainty and forward rates. Так, здесь ладно, перерыв, наверное, сделаем. Или закончим эту часть.